All right, thanks for doing this.
Absolutely.
You want to just start and tell us your name and a little bit about your childhood?
Caesar Anderson, CJ. I'm from San Pedro. I've been here all my life, except for, for a short period of time. But yeah, I've been here all my life. My childhood, I was raised by my mom. I got a brother and a sister. A single mom, let me say that. She's God-fearing. She was is very much into church. My childhood. I don't want to glamorize it, but I grew up in a project, so I guess you could almost imagine the type of stuff that went on, especially at that day and age. You know what I mean?
What type of stuff went on?
Probably drugs, violence, gangs. I guess the normal stuff that happens in most other ghettos in America.
When did you first become aware of that as a kid growing up? When did you realize this is different? Or did you ever even realize that this is different, that the violence, that the drugs, that...
Yep. When did I realize that it was different? I don't know. I guess when I was conscious of television, because what you see on television ain't what you see in your reality. You know what I mean? So I think I knew enough as a child that I knew something. I ain't gonna say it wasn't right. I knew something was different. Let's just say about my environment and maybe the environment I seen on TV. You know what I mean?
What age were you?
Fuck. I don't know. I got vivid memories of seeing certain stuff before preschool. You know what I mean? Yeah, just understanding that if you hear a gunshot, get down. You know what I mean? Something like that. Like I said, I ain't glamorizing it, but it's the truth about my childhood.
What'd you see?
It was, what did I see? Without being specific, like I said, there was violence going on, drug sales, and a whole bunch of, I'm gonna say just a whole bunch of that. You know what I mean? But that's not all I seen. But that's,
What was the hardest thing you went through as a kid? So before the streets and gangs and all that, what was the hardest thing you went through just as a kid?
the hardest thing I went through. In my opinion, waking up and going to church every Sunday. For real. I mean, my mom has always had it. Let me say that too. My mom has always had a job. So, I mean, she had a time where her life wasn't the best, but she always had a job. So I'm not gonna tell you, I was a hungry kid. I can't remember being hungry. You know what I mean? I can't remember going without. For real. You know what I mean? So the hardest thing I had to deal with as a kid, I'm gonna say that, but whatever else I dealt with, it was almost like it was commonplace. I mean, even if it was just fighting or just being bad as a kid, that was almost normal. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even say that was hard. That was just what it was.
What was so hard about church? Was it just that it was just boring?
That's it. It was boring. And you got to be quiet. I'm a kid. I want to move around. I want to talk, stuff like that.
Did you ever think, you said you were raised by a single mom growing up, you never thought about your dad and what he was up to?
Yeah, I thought about him. I know exactly who he was. He had his problems, his own demons he was dealing with. I seen him every now and then. But like I said, I definitely thought about him. But
How'd that make you feel? Just the lack of knowing your dad, but him not being around.
I think that had a lot to do with some of my anger issues. I believe so. I believe that had a lot to do with some of my anger growing up as a kid.
Would you say that it was more sadness turned into anger, channeled into anger, or was it just hurt channeled into anger because that was unacceptable outlet for yourself or where you were at, or
Probably so, yeah. Probably so. That I never thought about it like that, but I can go for that.
I'm just speculating.
No, right. I can go for that because, you know,
It makes sense.
it makes perfect
It
sense.
makes sense. You can't go outside in the projects and cry.
Yeah, but you're right.
You can't go. I mean, you're worried about gunshots. You don't have time to cry.
I mean, you're right. But, kids still cry. But
Yeah.
that just the fact of knowing of this man's existence and our relationship not being what a kid would think it should be, yeah, that can cause some pain, some sadness turned into anger.
What were your dreams as a kid as to what you wanted to be?
Fuck, I remember I wanted to be a trash man. What did I want?
They make over $100K a year.
Yeah,
You make
but
it a career.
It's not as glamorous.
Yeah,
it's not
definitely
glamorous.
not glamorous.
Yeah, but you're right. What did I want to be? A football player. I liked playing football. I wanted to be a football player, a trash man. All kind. I mean, that changed every week probably as a child.
How were your teens?
My teens. As a teenager, you start smelling.
Junior high teens.
Yeah, as a teenager, you start smelling your own ass. You got an opinion now. You could think a little better. You're still a kid. You're not. Your thoughts ain't. They not fully developed. But as a teenager, you're developing your own opinion about life.
What was your opinion about life then as a teenager?
I thought I knew everything, and I definitely didn't. Not even close. You know what I mean? A man would be a fool to say that, but as a teenager, I just wanted to be cool.
What did being cool consist of in the projects?
Well, by that time, my great grandmother had died, and we moved into her house, which was right around the corner from the projects. But what it being cool consists of? Fighting, bagging on people, still playing football on the block, doing bad shit. All kind, yeah.
Would you describe yourself? So I heard both your part one, part two, that man and Janu's podcast, and you talk about, so to brush people up, because we didn't talk about a little bit of your story. A part of your story is that you did an 18-year federal prison sentence.
Right.
And you got arrested. How old were you?
20.
20. But that the streets wasn't, if I remember correctly, the streets wasn't always like your go-to. Like you tried to be as much as you could growing up in that environment. You tried to kind of...
Yeah, you try to, because let me say this too. I got multiple family members that was involved in certain stuff. Uncles, I got one uncle that he did about 29, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got my mom's other brother, one of her other brothers, he got killed when I was a baby. Her cousins got killed. Going in and out of jail. So these are the men I'm seeing. These are the men technically in my family, you know what I mean? That go in and out of jail. some stayed or getting killed or whatever. You know what I mean? So being honest, I always knew that the streets wasn't necessarily cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, and the beginning of the day, you're gonna do what your friends are doing. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that most of us are a product of our environment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Even if I might know, we might know something ain't cool or be able to think outside of that, but at the end of it, it's like a fish being in water. You know what I mean? A fish, we know that the fish is in water better than the fish does. You know what I mean? So I might know that this might not be cool, but at the end of the day, I'm doing what my friends are doing. You know what I mean? And you might have to just say it's unfortunate, but fuck it. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
So until then, when did you make the conscious decision that I'm gonna be a part of a gang and this is what I'm gonna do?
When did I make the conscious decision? I was young, probably 14. Well, like I spoke on before, one of my buddies had been killed, and he was already, in the thick of the shit that he was doing. You know what I mean? He was like a year older than me, but he was already doing what it was he was doing. And he ended up getting killed. And that turned San Pedro into a different, maybe it was already whatever it was, because San Pedro been San Pedro. But that's when it turned into, that's when, you get faced with, that's when your reality changes. That's when my reality changed as far as, okay, this is where I'm at in life, technically. Maybe I wasn't thinking that clearly, saying this is where I'm at in life, but at the time, this is what my life was being faced with. You know what I mean? Just okay, San Pedro been having whatever they have as far as the gang shit. But at this time, this is when it's almost like right at my front door, right in my face.
So it's always been around you. You're 14. One of your close friends is murdered. And you just go with the flow. You go with the environment, essentially.
Unfortunately, but yeah, that's about right.
And how was that?
What do you mean?
Like, to go with the flow, you're going with the flow. There is a knowing of like that you're going this direction. If it's like a moment of a decision, that can vary. But there is an understanding like, hey, this is kind of where my life is at. Like you said, this is just where it's going. But there's different elements to that. You have a close friend being murdered. How do you even, process that?
How do you process that? It's almost like I couldn't tell you how I processed it, but I knew what death was. I knew it's over with. I knew he ain't, you know what I'm saying? I knew that much. How did I process it?
Did you have more like vengeance in your heart? Like, hey, my friend's dead. This is just the decision's been made for you, essentially, to join a gang. Like, life made the decision for you.
It wasn't even like, I'm going to keep it honest. It wasn't like I said, hey, I'm going to join the gang today. Nah, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't that. You went with the flow, but was there like a resentment towards the rival gang, that hate, that vengeance, that something? Because
I would say so. It expanded to a different level, because now it went from them, and when I say them, I just mean anybody outside of my friend group. Now it turned into us. You know what I mean? We were affected by this directly, even though, like I said, of course you hear stories. Damn, you'd heard such and such got this happened to such and such, or that happened to such and such. But now it's
But
like,
never that close to you.
I mean, nah, not at close, nah, not right in my friend circle. A dude I talk to every day, and we buddies, whatever. And then tomorrow, you hear a story at school like, "Hey man, you heard about such and such, right?" Like, what? You know what I mean?
How'd you view life then? So how'd you view life? What was your perspective on life? Did you ever think that your dreams were possible? That even in that environment, that
You know what?
there's another life for you, maybe, or was it just like, this is it? This is all I got.
Nah, I'm gonna be honest. I've always believed in my dream. Still today, I dream. You know what I'm saying? I've never been. Even I might be in a sit. It's like I've always seen more for myself. You know what I mean? Still today, you know what I mean? What I got today ain't what I'm gonna have tomorrow, and I've always thought like that. You know what I mean? Thought for progress, even if the way I was looking for progress might not have been positive, but I've always said, "Yep, I'm gonna do." Even in shit, most times it didn't happen, but still today, I believe in my dreams. You know what I mean? I don't feel like it's too much I can't do. So I didn't feel like I was stuck right there. This is it. This is all I'm gonna be. Nah, I never thought that. But I accepted where I was in life at the time. You know what I mean?
Was that a hard acceptance, or was it just part of the flow?
It was part of the flow. You know what I mean? Because it's not. It's hard for a kid when all your friends is playing football. You don't stand on the sideline. You get in there and play with them. You know what I mean? It's the same. It's the same thing. These is the same. I got more than likely most of the people that I call friend today, they've been my friends since we was children. You know what I mean? And so it's not like it wasn't even peer pressure. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't none of that. It was just, well, this is what it is. You know what I mean? Because when your friends are playing football, you decide to play football too.
Did you play football for Pedro High?
No, I done had the grades.
So you never. I mean, you could still be on the team. You just can't make the team.
Yeah, I never. No, I didn't. I didn't even. No, I didn't. Never. I never even tried out. I just like playing football, like on the block. But I would have. Don't get me wrong. I had thoughts. I mean, I want to play football for Peter, but I never followed through.
Right. So this is up to you're 16. Your life has consisted of growing up in the projects in San Pedro, which, like you said, anyone who knows anything about projects in Southern California, you can
imagine what
it's like. But there's a lot of people who don't know what it's like. There's a lot of people who don't know, and I know for us who have grown up poor and in certain ways, we think that a lot of people know what we're talking about. It's only the people who have grown up like us who know what we're talking about.
Right.
Most people don't. So, like the description of growing up in the projects, you're not hungry, and you don't want for your basic needs because your mom is working and is providing for you. But when you walk out, you're conscious of gunshots and what to do when you hear gunshots. You're conscious of the violence around. Like, this is just a reality for you that isn't normal. And you grow up that way, and the flow technically already started at a young age for you. You already know how to maneuver in that arena when violence is always a threat, drugs are present. 16, a decision, a big thing happens, and you continue to go with what I think is what and it is a little bit, it would be more unnatural for you to remove yourself from whatever was going on.
Right.
Because you've been in that arena for that long. Even if you weren't you know, at the forefront of it. But you're still a kid, right?
Still a kid.
You're still a
got to
kid.
answer to my mom. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and then you're beating people up right when you walk out the house.
Right.
How's that? How's that? You know, you're the man on the block, right? But then you go home, and then your mom is.
Mom is run. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the reality of. It's a lot. You know, that's the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
You know, the person you are outside, you might not be that same person inside, or you might be, but you turn it down some. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because, you know, I don't care who it is. If you grew up with your mom, she's gonna have a certain level.
Yeah.
She's gonna demand a certain level of respect, and you're gonna give it to her or get your ass whooped.
Did your mom ever find out that you were actually gangbanging, and what happened when she found out?
I think she was in denial for a while. I think she was in denial. She knew. I mean, I can't say what she knew, but in my head, I think she might have been in denial, didn't want to accept it because that ain't what she wanted for me. You know what I mean? She, like I said, she got brothers and she understands the streets, but that ain't what she wanted for her kids, because she technically wasn't living that life. She was going to school, going to work, going to church
every
you know,
Sunday.
every single Sunday. You know what I mean? So she might have been in denial. You know what I mean? Like, man, you know, until somebody might have told her something. Well, you know, I seen your boy doing this, and she made, you know what I mean? She, you know, like most mothers that love their kids, they don't want to hear the worst.
How was that rush of being a gang member? I know that
rush?
that rush, that high, that of everybody knowing you, of being somebody, or did you never see it that way? I know for
Yeah, I never seen it like. I never seen it like that. I was just.
because you were already in it for so long,
I was just doing me. You know what I mean? Or even if I wasn't in it,
so you were humble.
I was always. I always been around this. You know what I mean? On some level, I always been around these. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
These dudes.
heavy hitters.
I mean, I ain't gonna say all that. I just been around these people, right?
Okay.
Gang members. You know what I mean? I've been around them all my life, so it wasn't like. It ain't like if
You never got a kick out of it.
a kick out of it,
Yeah.
like a thrill.
A thrill, yeah.
Did I get a thrill out of it? I mean,
There's a point where you get to making money as well, right? You never got it.
I'm sure. I mean,
But to you, it was more like matter of fact. It's just business, is what I'm gathering.
I mean, damn, you said, did I get a kick out of it? I can't. It's hard for me to answer that, like, because it was never like this is the coolest shit in the world to me. Nah, you know what I mean? It was never that. I mean, don't get me wrong.
That's what a lot of kids do it for, though. Unfortunately,
I mean, yeah, unfortunately they do, but it's like, how can I say this?
it's almost like you're more resigned to it, like more like this is, you know.
It's like, okay, we all, like I said, the same friends. I grew up with them all my life. You know what I'm saying? Or even the people, even if I didn't meet you until junior high or high school, I'm still the same person. Now it's just that maybe certain people don't like me no more, or don't like me now, or you know what I'm saying? It's like, it wasn't like I was trying to poke my chest out and be somebody I wasn't. Nah, it wasn't.
Did you have homies like that?
Yeah, hell yeah. Of course, it's always gonna be somebody like that.
What's
know
your
what I mean?
perception about individuals like that within the gang? Because there's individuals like that in gangs, individuals like that at work, individuals
Okay.
like that.
I'm gonna say this, right? Just don't be faking. I don't care what you're doing, whether you're a preacher and you can't give me nothing but Jesus talk, or a teacher, or a lawyer, or whatever you saying you are, whatever you claiming yourself to really be that. You know what I'm saying? Just don't be faking. So I always have a problem with people faking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like the guy who's tough. You know, when be tough all the time if you tough. You know what I'm saying? If that's really who you are, or just chill out, be cool, be humble, and be a man. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all it's about, being a man.
What's your definition of a man?
A person, not even a person, a male that can take care of his own, take care of himself, physically, mentally, and can stand on his own. You know what I mean? Now, whether you in a gang or not,
Yeah, this is just in general.
right? But I'm using that as an example. Whether you're in a gang or not, you might be, and your homies might have your back. But be a man too. The same person you are when there's 50 of you, be that same man by yourself. You know what I mean? And that's what I call a man. Somebody that can that don't have to fake. You know what I mean? Somebody that can protect, provide, and has the courage to be exactly who he is, whoever that is. You know what I mean? That's what I say. Don't fake for me. Don't be super when I'm around. Be who you are when I'm around. Now, if you really super, I respect that too. If you really about that, I respect it. You know what I mean? Just don't be playing. Don't be faking. Don't make me think you super, and when the time come, you not. You kryptonite, or your kryptonite is air. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. With anything you doing, I don't.
Just be you.
Just be you, whoever that is. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day and the beginning of the day, I'ma just be me. You know what I mean? I'ma just be me, and I can appreciate a person that's just being them. We don't have to put on no facade. But unfortunately, the world is full of actors.
Well, especially with social media now. Like, I mean, anyone can be say anything online.
Anybody can be and say anybody that they want to.
Yeah, but
and it's unfortunate.
Before I get into, the whole prison time, because time-wise, it's like you spent half your life in prison, half your life.
Absolutely.
That's wild.
You telling me?
Wild.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I spent from 20 to right before my 38th birthday. Right after my 20th birthday to right before my 38th birthday.
So you pretty much, you did a lot of growing up inside those walls.
Yeah, you have to.
And from what I'm gathering, you always had somewhat of a head on your shoulders, even as young growing up. It's what it seems like, because I was more of a thrill type guy,
right?
Which is why I asked that question. I got an adrenaline rush,
right.
But you, it was just more of the same. So that's why I feel like you're more resigned to it. It's more like, one, this isn't all that it is, but this is just where I'm at, and you knew that going in. For me, when I made a decision to just say fuck everything else, I was more like hopeless. I was like, I'm going to go work for minimum wage. I couldn't really see too far out into the future. I don't think a lot of people can when they're young. Our perception of time is like right now or nothing. And but you kind of got a good head on you. You commit some crimes. I'm not sure what the crimes are, but I'm sure that's in the public domain. What were the actual charges?
Well, I went to prison for conspiracy to distribute, taking drugs to another state.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 10 years for that.
And it's federal time, right?
Federal
So
time.
that's 85. You're doing 85% or 90%. Is that how?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's 85%, and as you're doing your time, you get in trouble. You can lose 30 days here, 30 days there. So that 85% could easily turn into 90%, or some people might turn it to 100%.
What made you make? So you're already in the criminal lifestyle. So you had the violence factor. Now you went into the I'm gonna make money in this arena, and I'm gonna. That's more like a.
Because it's unfortunate, but everybody I knew that was doing good, that I knew personally that was doing good, and had everything that, not only what they needed, had seemed like what they had everything they wanted. They were in the streets on some level. You know what I mean? Now, like I said, my household, we wasn't struggling. You know what I mean? Mama, we had food in there and all that. You know what I mean? But I wanted more than food. You know what I mean?
I mean, who doesn't growing up in LA?
Exactly. You know what I mean? I wanted more than that. So, I tried some stuff.
How was that run before you got caught?
You know what? Before I got caught, before I even went out of town, I had the ability to make money, but I fucked it off. You know what I mean? I was a kid, never had nothing, never had no money at least. You know what I mean? As far as my own. So I had it and I spent it. If you're around,
Yeah, of course.
get it. I didn't appreciate it because I felt like I'm going to get some more. You know what I mean? And I just fucked off a whole bunch of money. Yep.
Well, how was the spending of it? It had to have been a little fun.
I mean, yeah, it was. Don't get me wrong, it was fun. You know what I mean? It was fun. It was fun. Definitely fun spending money. You know what I mean? You could buy whatever. I mean, maybe not whatever I wanted, but
More than you ever could have.
more exactly. I could buy more than I ever could have. And my thing was, I didn't care about buying clothes. You know what I mean? I might just want to eat good every day, or smoke some weed, or whatever I felt like I wanted to do. I did it. I wasn't never trying to be the super fly guy. You know what I mean? But I know I made it and spent it damn near fast as I made it.
Okay, now you get caught, which is status quo for anybody who's young and making money. That's just how it. I mean, they say, hey, it burns a hole in your pocket. You get it fast, you spend it fast. You get caught. You go to jail. You're starting that process. Did you have any regrets at that time? Were you like, this money wasn't worth it?
Never.
You never regretted it?
Nah, I still don't. And I say that to say, because every day I done lived on earth, it led to this day. So everything I done been through, everything I've seen, all the choices I made, whatever I've done, it made me who I am today. You know what I mean? So for me to say, oh, I regret doing this, that means I regret a character trait that developed in me. You know what I mean? So I'm not perfect by no means, but I don't regret nothing I've done.
Maybe regret's the wrong word.
Okay.
I know when I went to jail, we were robbing Hollywood Videos, Albertsons. There was a bank in one, but I think the most money I ever got was maybe like $1,800. When I went to jail, I was like, fuck, I could have just had a regular job somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's different for everybody. It wasn't it's not a regret now, but it did make me think one, it's sobering to think that $1,800 to a poor kid, that he'll risk his life for that. When somebody else already knows, you can just get a job, this job, get in here, and you're fine. But when you're poor and you don't
you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't, and that's why I say I don't regret it. Now, let's just say, I know I was hearing, you hear oh, you got to go to school, you got to go to college, then you get a good job. All that's cool, right?
Takes too long.
I mean, it takes too long, and it definitely takes too long, and that's cool in theory, but we living today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't have nothing right now.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not. And like I say, for me, it's hard for me to regret when you just don't know. You know what I'm saying? Now, you ask me today, would I do?
You don't.
Would I go?
You don't regret it, but you know you wouldn't do it again, which is just.
Nah.
Which is just
Now, had I now at 20 years old, would I do it again? Maybe. Yeah, why not? But right now, today, with the, I guess, wisdom of experience, nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try something else. I don't want to do that no more. I want to do something else. I got other dreams now. That ain't a dream of mine no more.
That's why they say hindsight's 20/20.
Exactly.
So you get caught. What was it like the first time you saw your I'm assuming that your mom visited you when you were in jail, right? Like during the trial process, or the pre-trial process, what was it like when your family first came and saw you the first time when you got locked up? The first
person to come see me, this is when I was in LA County Jail, was my brother. And I wasn't surprised that he came to see me. Me and my brother always been close. But he was, matter of fact, what happened, okay, let me say this. I was on probation before I even went out of town or whatever. I was on probation for a stolen car. I was on probation for a stolen car. Okay, I had a probation violation. I stopped reporting to my probation officer. Okay. So now, technically, I'm on the run. You know what I mean? Because now, I got a warrant for my arrest. So, in between the time I stopped reporting to my probation officer and the time I got caught, this is when I decided to go across state lines and, do whatever it is I was doing. So, bam, I go and I come and I make it back out here. I make it back and I'm back for months, for real, before the feds came. I'm back for months, but long story short, one day the police comes and, they jack me up. They jack me up. Hey, what's your name? Blah, blah. I tried to give them a fake name. They asked us for social security numbers. I made one up. You know what I mean? They say, hey, this shit don't match.
Yeah.
So they had me. I'm in cuffs. I tell them who I was. You know what I mean? Take me to jail. So bam, I just got a regular probation violation. I have no knowledge that the feds, that I'm already indicted. You know what I'm saying? I have no knowledge of this. Yeah. So I'm in the LA County Jail. I received 16 months with half. So you do 8 months. You know what I mean? Okay, probation violation, 16 months with half. I take it. So before that time comes, before I actually take the 16 months, my brother comes. He had just had his second daughter. Second or third daughter. But he had just had her, so he comes and tells me that his ex-wife had the baby. Oh, yeah, we named her, It's only a 15-minute visit, so he come up there and tell me. I'm like, okay, that's what's up, whatever. So how did my initial feeling when I first seen my family? Well, I seen my brother, and I figured, I'll be out soon. It wasn't. I didn't feel much of anything at the time. I know I'm in jail. I'm sure he knew.
It was just like, hey, I'll be out soon.
It is.
Don't worry
it is.
about it. Yeah.
He told me. I think he might have gave me some money or something. Sent me some money or whatever. Told me he had his baby. His wife had the baby. And the resume normal program. He leave, all right, man, whatever. He leave. But at this time, like I said, I had no knowledge that the feds was coming. Mm-hmm. So bam, a few weeks later, I take the 16 months. Mm-hmm. Halftime, oh yeah, I'll be out. I got arrested in June. I'm like, yeah, I'll be out in, 8 months later, January, February, whatever it was. Yeah, I'll be out in a minute. I'll be out before my birthday, So bam.
And it's crazy that that's probably what was nothing to you at that time. It's just part of the game at that point, is what it's sounding like.
I'm going to say this, right? That was the most time I had ever done.
But you still took it as just part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, the game was dangerous when you start playing it.
So you're full blown in it at this point. You're just, that's what it, I mean, if you're like, hey, 18 months, I'm going to do it. I'm
16 months.
Business as usual
8,
after.
Whatever. Yeah, I'll be back. You know what I mean? I'll be back. It's nothing. You know what I mean? That's how I felt. Yeah.
Some people get 8 at 16 with half, and they're like, hey, I'm good.
I mean, right? You're right. Some people do. But at 20 years old, my arrogance and ignorance wouldn't allow me to care. Yeah, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. I knew I was going to jail. Yeah, I mean, I stopped reporting to the probation officer. I made a conscious decision. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah, I mean, so bam. So now I got the 16 months. They give me 16 months. So, whatever. I'm all right, I got 16 months. Now I'm waiting for the bus to get to prison. You know what I mean? If anybody knows, this is the difference between county jail and prison. Now I'm waiting to actually go to prison. So in the process of me waiting, they call us off and call people for visits.
Yeah.
All right. They say my name. Anderson, you got to Anderson. They start calling visits. Anderson, woo, they start naming names. So bam. So they give you a little paper. They give you the paper to let you know what window you're gonna be at, or however it works. It's been so many years ago, I forgot. So they give me a paper, but I'm looking at it. It say medical. Like, what the fuck? I'm healthy. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Mm-hmm. So I get down there to the visiting area. Everybody's going to the right. So I asked the sheriff. I'm like, hey, what is this? Why I say medical? He said, oh yeah, you go that way. I'm like, all right, whatever. I go in there, and they say, oh yeah, go right there in that room right there. I don't know what it is, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm relatively new. I've been to jail before, you know what I mean? But I'm still relatively new to the whole jail experience. You know what I mean? So
yeah, like the end, like you've never been through this medical experience at the lesson. It's kind of like you don't know what's happening. You really don't know what's happening.
I have no clue about what's happening. You know what I mean? It's all right, whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe this is normal. I don't know. Yeah, you go that way. So I go in the room, and I see two white dudes. I say, hey, the fuck? These
Where are they
doctors.
dressed in? Are they dressed in?
The Fed had a little polo shirt.
Yeah.
Because it was a federal agent and a sheriff.
Okay.
Together. You know what I mean? So the Fed had a little polo shirt with the little jeans. Dressed like a Fed. You know what I mean? What you would imagine, the casual
That's
wear.
what I was wondering.
Yeah, the casual.
When you went in there, were you like, this guy looks like he might be a Fed?
I looked like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, now I got my game face on. I'm like, man, what's up? He's a federal agent, so I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of people that break at the sound of the feds. You know what I mean? So he, give me his, oh yeah, I'm federal agent, whatever his name was. I'm federal agent such and such. And this is Muskingum County sheriff, such and such. Is there anybody here that you know? They give me my indictment, you know what I mean, with all my co-defendants. So I look, I recognize some names, but I see my name too. I'm spooked, but like I said, I'm in game mode now. It's my poker face. I say, all I know is me. I don't know nobody else. I don't know nothing. He said, son, just help yourself out. Just tell us what you know. Man, I don't know shit. Fuck you. Send me back to my cell. You know what I mean? So I don't throw it at him, but I toss the indictment across the table. And I get up and walk out. You know, he laughed. He like, yeah, all right. You know what I mean? So I get up, try to walk out. But the LA County sheriff like, hey, man, what are you doing? Sit your ass down. So I sit down in the hallway. So I'm sitting there thinking, like, what the fuck? This is a federal indictment. You know what I mean? I didn't get a chance to read it. I threw it back to him.
You a little nervous?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? In my ignorant mind, I said to myself, well, if I don't read it, it ain't real type shit. You know what I mean?
It's okay.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what I was thinking, but I threw it back to him. I get up, walk out the room, and they make me sit down like in the little medical lobby in the LA County jail, whatever it is. So the LA County sheriff make me sit down. So I'm just sitting there. So about 2 minutes later, they, you know, the Fed and the other police from Ohio, they pack everything up, and they, you know, they leaving, but they see me sitting right there. So the federal agent, he says, yeah, when you get a second, go on and read this. So I kind of like, you know what I mean? So he just sit it down next to me. I don't touch it. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. Like, oh, if I don't touch it, it ain't real. So now he bend the corner. He leave. Now I can't see him. He can't see. He gone. You know what I mean? So as soon as he bend the corner, as soon as both police leave, the Fed and the regular sheriff, as soon as they leave, I pick up the indictment. And I'm reading it like, what the, you know, they saying whatever the fuck. But I'm reading the indictment. And
indictments always sound super heavy, too. They put everything on the indictment that they can possibly imagine.
Absolutely.
That's even remotely possible. And they trump everything up. So
they
I would assume that's terrifying to read that.
Yeah.
Because you're like, holy shit.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And then this the FBI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It ain't the regular LAPD or you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is something that, like, it's a little bit of an unknown. Like, what else do they got?
Exactly.
You know?
So I'm reading this, and the shit that they saying about me in the indictment, it's like, it was not, because I told you I had been gone already. You know what I mean? And the shit that they were saying about me, it's like, I'm reading it, and it might be something where only me and one other person was around. I know I didn't tell them. You know what I mean? So I'm looking like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And I'm realizing, but yet still hoping, like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is dude telling? You know what I mean? But I could read it in the indictment. If it says on this day, Ceasar Anderson and an individual sat down and interviewed, I know I didn't tell him. You know what I'm saying? It was some shit like that went on. So I'm reading it like, man, what the fuck?
It'd be different if it didn't make sense. If there's like, you're like, hey, this actually isn't what happened.
It's making my part. You know what I mean? I don't know about nobody else and shit, but I'm looking at mine like, whoa. You know what I mean? But I'm knowing who. You know what I mean? Only me and another person know certain shit. So bam, I go back to the cell. I'm spooked. Like, what the fuck? I tell this older dude, like, man,
you don't know what you're dealing with.
Exactly. I tell this older dude who probably been in and out of jail, like, man, the feds, blah, 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 you know, whatever. I'm telling him, like, the feds came and tried to talk to me, this, that, and the third. Look, man, I let him read it. And, you know, this clown, he was, this fool, he you know, because, you know, everybody's going to the state. You know what I mean? So they see, oh, damn, this young motherfucker going to the feds. Oh, you know, he kind of like it was cool. Like, man, I ain't trying to hear what you talk. Give me my shit, fool. You know what I mean? But I'm still spooked. He can't help me nothing. You know what I mean? I want to hear some positive shit, but he thinking it's cool. Oh, yeah, you finna go to the feds. But he did say one thing. He said, oh, yeah, conspiracy, you're going to get 10 years. Either you're going to tell or you're going to get 10 years. I'm like, what the fuck? 10 years? I'm here in the state. You used to hear.
How did that sound? How did 10 years sound when you heard it?
And like however you think it sounded, that's exactly how it sounded. You know what I mean? From, like I say, my jail experience at that time was minimal. I did 19 days max before that. You know what I mean? So now I'm sitting there, I'm spooked. I call a couple of my family members, tell them what was going on. You know, they don't got no one, because you know, it ain't too many people that, it's not a lot of people. Do you know a lot of people that's been to the feds?
I don't think so.
And that's the point I'm making. So they don't really got no understanding of it either. So it's like the feds. I got one cousin that went to the feds, but it's like, damn, all right.
You just know it's serious.
I know it's serious. You know what I mean? I know I know that much. So long story short, the chain finally comes, or the bus finally comes for me to go to state prison. Because remember, I had this 16 months with half. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe the feds ain't coming. Maybe they wanted me to say something. And being that I didn't say nothing,
Yeah, like it's over.
it's over with. In my head, I'm like, all right, whatever. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? But I got this in the back of my mind. Like, damn. So I end up going to state prison. I end up in Tehachapi. It was just reception, though. I was in reception probably about 30 days, 45 days. I don't know. For a short period of time, I was in Tehachapi. And I'm like, all right, shit, maybe I am getting out in February or January, whatever it was. So one day, they say, hey, Anderson, we're moving you. You going back? Because they got, in reception, they got like a receiving unit where you go in there and then you go to, whatever, another unit until you finally go to the yard you're going to do your time at. You know what I mean? So they sent me back to the receiving unit.
So you haven't hit that? Did you hit the main yard on the California prison system?
No, I was.
So
only
you were just
reception.
at the reception.
Only at reception. You go.
And you were hoping that you would hit that yard.
Yeah, hit the yard and be done with it and
that
get
would
out.
have been the best case scenario.
That would have been the best case scenario. So they send me back to the receiving unit. The unit that you first go to. As soon as you get off the bus, everybody goes to this unit, and then they disperse you out around the reception prison. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. So they send me back to the receiving. I'm like, man, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But me and my cellie had been getting into it. You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason, after lunch one day, he didn't come back to the cell. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what happened, so they come that night and they pack my shit up and tell me I'm going back to, so I'm thinking I'm in trouble for whatever he told them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still like, damn. So I got to start this process all over again. This is what's in my head. So the next day, nothing happened. I'm still in the receiving unit, get my lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever. And then from there, the next morning after that, like 2 days after I get back to the receiving unit, I happen to be looking out my window and I see U.S. Marshal. My heart dropped. I knew enough to say, it said U.S. on it. I said, yeah, that's government shit. And so now this is my indictment playing itself out. You know what I mean? The U.S. Marshal come get me. I'm spooked. I'm sick. Like, man, what the fuck? I don't know what the fuck is finna happen. I do know I ain't getting out in February for damn sure. You know what I'm saying? So they send me back to where I caught my case at. They come and get me. They got the Con Air. They put me on a plane.
How was Con Air? Was it like the movie Con Air?
It's different. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Okay. They shackle your belly and they put your handcuffs. And so I'm shackled like this, and then they shackle your feet with a chain about this long. So you got short steps. So they took me from Tehachapi. I'm in the back of the van driving. They driving me to a county jail. I stayed in the county jail just overnight until I could get on a plane to go so they could take me back to fight my case. That was out of town. So, boom, I get on the Con Air plane. I'm like, man, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? You know what I mean? So, I'm
It's like a nightmare that never ends.
Straight up.
Like up. Fuck.
Exactly.
That's what it seems like.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, so they got me on this plane, and I go to Oklahoma. Oklahoma it's like the hub where they send you there first, and then you go from Oklahoma, and then they send you wherever you gotta go. You know what I mean? So now I'm getting off. I got on the plane in California, and I'm getting off this plane in Oklahoma. And what that experience reminded me of, ASAP, you've seen the movies with the slave auction block. You've seen movies like that. That's what it reminded me. We was on chains. We was standing on blocks. They taking the chains off us, though, but we standing on these blocks 3 or 4 at a time, and then you go into a little holding cell. But that first initial, when they taking the chains off, they got us standing on this auction block, and then the got a police behind you, a marshal behind you, a marshal in front. That's what it reminded me of, the slave auction block. I said, man, what the fuck?
So they actually put you on something that's like a pedestal of
Yeah.
a stage of sorts?
Yeah.
Did it seem to be any rhyme or reason as to why they put you on a stage before
They made it seem like the reason for it was so they could take your chains off you, so they could sit down and take it off, but you a little higher, they sit down. Like,
I get
know what I mean?
that, but
So-
that's interesting. I've had my legs shackled before.
yeah, and they just
Yeah.
get down there and unshackle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they sit down and they shackle you, stand there
Yeah,
until they tell you
that's
to
a
go
little,
this way.
that's
Yeah, and that's what it reminded me of the first. I said, yeah, this shit is real. Whatever's going on is real. You know what I mean? So I stay in Oklahoma about a week, and now I'm going back to Ohio where I caught my case.
so they fly you every time from Oklahoma to Ohio
Yeah.
to go see.
No, you sit in the county jail in Ohio to fight your case. You know what I mean? So I left the state. That was the last time I seen California at that time. You know what I mean? So I leave, go to Oklahoma, from Oklahoma to Ohio. Now we fighting the case.
And you're in the Ohio County Jail fighting the case.
Well, yeah. Let's just say yeah. It's federal detention center or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm fighting the case, and you know, it's a process.
It's a very long process.
Right,
When did your mom find out about what was going on?
I called her ASAP. You know what I mean? Hey, mama, this is what they saying. You know, you never admit it. You know what I mean? Oh, mama, they said this and they said that, and the feds came and seen me and all
What'd
that.
she say?
I think my mom was hurt. Like, she probably understood my situation more better than I did. You know what I mean? But
Why is that?
yeah, like how you said, why is
Yeah,
that?
how would she have understood your situation better?
Because she got more experience in life than me. You know what I mean? She understands. Like I said, she has brothers that have been.
So she grew up around yeah.
Absolutely. So she probably, she probably understood, like, yep, it done got serious. You know what I'm saying? Now, she ain't gonna say, boy, you gonna stay. She ain't gonna say nothing negative.
Yeah, I
but
mean, it's
she understands.
too late for that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too late. She understood. I felt like she probably understood what I was going through a little better than me, as far as the severity of what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
How discombobulating was that? Like, disorienting was that? Getting flown, thinking you're gonna do your time, hit with indictment, you're on a plane, you're in a new courthouse in a whole different
Everything.
state. How like, what a mind fuck is that, right? Like, it's so, even though you knew beyond the crime, but just the process of that. Like, how'd you take that in? Like, what is going on? When did you like settle into like, damn, this is really going on? These are the possibilities.
I was in disbelief, honestly, my whole prison sentence.
Oh shit.
It was like, I mean, you accept it, and
Yeah.
you deal with it as it comes.
Yeah.
But it'll be times, maybe 15 years down, I would say to myself, these motherfuckers really got me in federal prison. So
Yeah.
it was a mind fuck the whole time.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The whole time, like, when you accept what you're going through, you accept it and you deal with it how you can.
Yeah.
But-
You survive.
Yeah, but there was never a time where I was just, okay, fuck it, yeah, nah. You know what I mean? Like, people tell you, oh man, forget about the streets. You in here right now, that shit cool, I guess, in the movies. But me personally, I thought about freedom every single day of my sentence. And people might say, oh, that'll drive you crazy. Not me. You know what I mean? I feel like you have to focus on that. Now, you're going to be dealing with prison and whatever comes with that. But
You're a keep the hope alive.
yeah, I mean, without hope, what you got?
Yeah, I saw something on social media the other day where you believe the delusion, and it's only delusional until it comes true. And I understand what they're saying like that, because when you're dreaming, it's not necessarily there in its tangible form. It's there in possibility, but it's not there yet. And for you to hold on to that hope, it can be challenging in prison because the reality is so different than what you're hoping for, and it can be painful. And that's I also had older homies tell me that, who you may know, Spade, or
I
not,
heard of him.
yeah,
I mean,
or
you
know
know,
of him, right?
Yeah, I know of him.
He was
for
a
sure.
lifer. He may be getting out soon, actually, but I remember him saying, why he told me the same thing. He was like, why hope? Like, why? You're just making it harder. And that always stuck with me when he told me that, because he was a lifer, and to get into somebody's thought process, and I guess he surrendered to the fact of probably never going home. And I could feel that, even though he may be coming home now because certain laws changed. But I never liked it. I never agreed with it in my heart, because I was like, what type of life is a life without hope, regardless of where you're at?
Right.
Like I can't live a life like that.
Refuse
But I
to.
can see how painful it can be when you're hoping and hoping, but what's in front of you is like not even close to what you're
Now,
hoping for.
me personally, I never had a life sentence. I knew one day.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean? I knew one day I'm gonna get out of here. You know what I mean?
And you prepared for that.
Unless something terrible happens, but I'm gonna do everything it takes for it not to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't subscribe to that. Just stay right here. Don't get me wrong. I'm here. I know where I'm at. I know
I'm going
exactly.
home.
I know the people that love me is on the other side of this wall. I don't care if we sit at the same table and eat. You know what I'm saying? I understand that much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we might share a joke, and it might be some people in here that you do get cool with, of course. But at the end of the day, your true loved ones, first off, that shit got to be proven. You know what I mean? But your true loved ones are your family on the streets. You know what I'm saying? So I understood that much, and I understood where I was at. But I never once said to myself, this is it. Because that wasn't it. I never had life. You know what I'm saying? And even every law that changed, every time the crack law changed, I filed a motion and shit. Yeah, I'm gonna try. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And none of that shit helped me.
Yeah.
But I'm not the. It ain't over till it's over. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up doing my whole sentence. You know what I'm saying? They gave me 10 years and then got in some shit and caught some more time. But
So yeah, let's bring that up. Okay, so